Rehab isn't what you need for your knee injury. If you're doing rehab exercises to get back to elite sport, to football, after your knee injury, odds are you are not going to make it back. That's why we see the re-tear rates, the re-injury rates, the rates of pain, the retirement from football be so high. And I had a knee surgery at the age of 16. My left knee had a snapped kneecap and meniscus tear. And then after that, we done rehab exercises. And I was told by my doctors and my physios, oh yeah, it'll be 6 months of rehab and you'll be back playing into sport. And you know where that rehab got me? Not anywhere close to playing football. Actually, 5 years later, there were screws coming out of my knee. I had developed ACL and tendon damage, as well as some more meniscus damage. And every day for a year, my knee would be so stiff that my wake-up alarm was my knee snapping into place. And that's where rehab got me. I'm not saying that, okay, all rehab is bad, or if you do your rehab, you may not make progress. What I'm saying is that if you want to make it back to elite sport, thinking about it lightly and doing rehab exercises, which you aren't going to do into the future, is not enough. There's a large majority of people going through traditional rehab in this generation that are promised to make it back to sport within a certain time, but they're all ending up in one place: the gap. You see, the gap is what I like to call the limbo between physios and strength coaches. Strength coaches don't want to go so far back into physio territory and do the physio's job, but the physios don't have the expertise or the knowledge to go into the strength training job and get people back to elite sport. The objective for the physios is to get you back on the feet, especially if you're going through public rehab like NHS or stuff like that. They don't have the time, the realm of expertise, or the bandwidth to be able to focus on you getting back to elite sport. So there is in between, this is called the gap, where your knees might start feel better. Your physio says, yeah, you're good to start trying out some stuff, do this, do that. Don't know how to progress from there on your own, and so you regress. You're just doing normal gym exercises, but the pain starts to come back, and the more you do the exercises, the more your knee hurts. And then you try to play some football here and there, and then your knee flares up after that, and you're in this downward spiral where you keep trying to return to sport, and then you keep injuring yourself, and then you don't know where to go, and you don't know where to start. And think about this. The definition of rehab is rebuilding something back to what it was previously. You could also call it restoration. If you look at a building, if a building breaks down and they restore it or they rehab it, they get it back to the state that it was in before. However, quick question, at your previous 100%, what happened? Oh, right, yeah, you got injured, so why would you want to get back to 100%? Our goal isn't to rehab footballers. Our goal is to make ballers bulletproof again. And that means to get to standards above the mainstream rehab, to do things that people aren't doing. Some of our standards that we're hitting are repping out Nordic curls, 100% of bodyweight squats, 50% of bodyweight full range of motion split squats, 100% of bodyweight step-ups of 4 to 6 inches. And this list goes on and on and on of standards that we are getting people to, and they feel like they have their best season when they go back. They don't just feel like they go back and they're like not what they used to be. And that's the path of most footballers. You know, 20% of professional footballers retire because of knee pain, knee injuries, knee issues, that kind of stuff. And once someone has a knee injury, for example, Michael Owen, when they come back, they don't seem the same. They don't seem to play the same. They don't seem to be as fast, as agile, as athletic. They seem to be scared because there's something in their mind telling them that it could go again. So we want to build you to the point where you're more athletic than ever. I was the slowest player in my team before injury. I was playing for Norwich Elites, Peterborough PDC, and I was playing for Sunday League as well, but I was the slowest. I was in midfield, I was super technical, I could dribble a lot, I could pass anywhere, but I was super slow. And then I didn't do any kind of football for 5 years, and I was broken down and I couldn't walk without any pain. And then I hit all of these standards. I start hitting the 100% bodyweight squats. I start hitting the Nordics. I can rep out 30 Nordics in a row, by the way. Let me know if your strength coach can do that. I started hitting the 100% bodyweight split squats. I started hitting all these numbers. I started going back to sprinting, and I was so much faster than I'd ever been before. I could jump higher. I could last in the games for longer. And I was like, wow, I transformed myself. So from going from broken to bulletproof to more athletic than ever, any single person watching this can do it as well, but it's not through rehab exercises. Your rehab shouldn't look too different to what you do when preparing for a sport. It should just be different scales of it. So I'm still doing ATG split squats to this day, but the ATG split squats I was doing back then were elevated and assisted, but the ATG split squats I'm doing today are with 100% of body weight on the bar for reps. This is really rehab 2.0. It's bulletproof ballers. It's crazy, and I think every single person going through an injury in football needs to hear about this. So if you do resonate with this message, if you have experienced the cycle, if you know anyone else that's had this downward cycle that keeps trying to come back but can't come back, that aren't the same as before, send them this video, send them our way to know that there is hope, that they can get even more athletic than ever, get more bulletproof than ever, they can play the sport they love for the rest of their life. I'm going to be 40, 50, 60-year-olds repping out reverse Nordics, repping out Nordics, playing my sport, playing with my kids, absolutely thrashing them. That's what I want, and that's how serious you need to take it, and we've taken a bunch of people there. For example, Charlie came to us with several knee dislocations in the past. This season, he told us that he feels stronger than ever before, and he's had his best season, scoring ridiculous amounts of goals, scoring this absolute scream at the end of the game. Like, imagine that feeling if you hit that in the 90th minute and everyone's screaming your name and stuff like that. That's what we were able to deliver with our type of training. So this makes Ballers bulletproof. Again, if you want to apply for our coaching, if you want to go through this system, click the top line in the description. If you want to do it on your own, it may take longer, but there's hundreds of YouTube videos on my page, on Kadeen's page, there's hundreds of Instagram videos. We've done a free 5-day workshop, which you can get in my Instagram bio. We are putting this knowledge out there to change the world of football, because we've had pro footballers and there's something missing still at the highest level, which you think there wouldn't be. Thanks for watching.